Hello, honors geometry students, and welcome to our first day of going through the individual transformations. Today's target 2, and again, we are going to cover 4 different transformations. We're going to do one each day. Today, we're going to be talking about translations. All right. So first of all, let's define what a translation is. A translation is a transformation that moves every point of a figure the same distance in the same direction. Just think of it as basically it's a relocation of a shape. So I have a shape, somewhere. I move it up, down, left, right, some sort of combination to move it to a new location. All right. So when we do a translation, again, we're given points. So if you want to pause the video for a second, kind of take the time to write down what I have down here in example number 1. I've went ahead and graphed this quadrilateral ABCD and written out the points. All right, so if you want to go ahead and take a second and graph this. All right, so when we do a translation, we get a rule. And our rule is going to look something like this. All right, so you're going to see x comma y with an arrow, and then some sort of adding or subtracting to x and adding or subtracting to y. So this is my translation rule, and this is basically telling me how I'm going to move each individual point. And the way this works is exactly how you'd think it'd work. I'm going to take all my x coordinates, I'm going to add 3 to them. I'm going to take all my y coordinates, and I'm going to subtract 3 from them. So again, I've gone ahead and taken all of my coordinates and written them down here. So I'm not even going to look at this on the graph yet. I'm going to go ahead and do my rule first, here and just kind of apply these rules. Now remember, when we get a new point, A is going to become what we call A prime. And it's just an A with a little apostrophe right there. Okay, so again, it's showing you that it's not the same as A, but it's coming from A. And again, my rule here is going to be, we're doing, x plus 3 and then y minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and take negative 2, which is my x coordinate right here, and I'm going to add 3 to that. So negative 2 plus 3 is going to be positive 1. And then my y coordinate is 6, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 3 from that. So 6 minus 3 is going to give me 3. So my point A prime is going to be the point 1, 3. We keep on going with this. All right, B prime is going to be 2 plus 3, which is going to be 5. And then my y coordinate is going to be 4 minus 3, which is going to be 1. So B prime becomes 5, 1. For C prime, 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. And then 1 minus 3 is negative 2. And then lastly, I've got D prime. Negative 2 plus 3 is going to be positive 1, and then 3 minus 3 is going to be 0. So you see in blue here, I've got my new points, A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. And I'm going to go ahead and graph these points on my grid over here. So let's start with A prime. A prime is the point 1, 3, which is going to be right here. All right, so there's A prime. B is the point 5, 1, which is going to be right here. C prime is going to be 5, negative 2. So right there. And then D prime is going to be 1, 0. So that's going to be right there. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw in my lines here. So connect all my points together. Fill in this quadrilateral. And we notice that my red and my blue quadrilateral, they should look exactly the same. Again, A is still upper left, B is upper right, D is lower left, and C is lower right. It's just in a new location. That's exactly what a translation is going to look like. We're just moving it to a new location. Okay, so again, let's just really quick talk about kind of how this rule, what this rule looks like on the graph. Again, that rule is x, y, and we did x plus 3. And we did a y minus 3. So our x-axis, as we know, goes horizontally, right? So anytime I manipulate this x right here, that represents a horizontal shift. Now we notice as I went for my A, right, we went 1, 2, 3 spots to the right here. So I had a horizontal shift of positive 3. Okay, and then I had for my y, I went down 3, so I went down 1, 2, 3, which ended up exactly where I'm at right there. So again, my x represents that horizontal shift, where that y represents that vertical shift. And just like with our x-axis, the positive numbers are to the right. So anytime I have a positive shift, it's going to move to the right. If I had, so for example, if I were to go x minus 3, instead of moving 3 units to the right here, it would have moved 3 units to the left instead. Same thing with my y shift. This is a vertical shift. I had a minus 3. So vertically, I went down 3 to get to where a prime is. Had this been a plus 3, it would have moved up. All right, so we can tell where this is going to go just based on what the rule looks like. All right, so X represents a horizontal shift. Positive is to the right. Negative is going to be to the left. And then Y represents a vertical shift. Positive is going to go up, and then negative is going to go down. All right, so the next one we have here is I have 2 triangles that are already actually given to me. And I need to figure out what the rule is for these two, for ABC to A prime, B prime, and C prime. So I got to figure out how did I get from one to the other. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to pick a pair of image points. And image points, again, would be like A and A prime, B and B prime, or C and C prime. It doesn't matter which one you pick as long as you pick the image. Like, for example, I need to go from A to A prime. Okay, I can't go from A to B prime or A to C prime. It's got to be from one point to its image point. All right, so guys, when we do our rules, remember, we're going to have an X, comma, Y, right? And I'm going to have an X rule, and I'm going to have a Y rule. And we need to figure out what these are going to be. Remember, the X is the horizontal shift. So let's go ahead and do that first. How did I shift horizontally as I went from A to A prime? So horizontally, I moved to the left here. All right, so again, we talked about that above there. To the left, as I move to the left horizontally, that's a negative shift. So I'm going to subtract, right? And how many units did I move? Well, I moved 1, 2, 3 units to the left. So this is going to be a horizontal shift of minus 3. And then when I'm right here, I had a positive shift. I went up 1, 2, and ended up right here. All right, so again, that's a vertical shift. I went up, so this is going to be a positive shift. And I went up 2 units, so that's going to be plus 2. So my rule is going to be X comma Y, X minus 3, Y plus 2. And again, this just kind of shows you that path that I went from A to A prime. A went in the negative 3 direction right there, and then went up 2 in the positive direction right there. Again, horizontal represents X shift, and then vertical represents a Y shift. All right, so we got some you try nows here, and I want you guys to go ahead and try these on your own. Again, there's really not a whole lot to this. Okay, so go ahead and try these on your own, and we will, again, cover these in class. A couple different types of problems. We look at, number 1 right here. We've got, we're just applying a rule for both A and B here. Number 2 is kind of similar to the problem we just did, where I'm given 2 shapes and I need to write a rule. And the last one, instead of giving you an actual rule, I'm giving you words. So I want you guys to try to translate that into a rule yourself, and then go ahead and try to do this transformation. All right, that's it for today. Hope you guys have a good one.